Morning. Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Tuesday the 16th of July. So starting off looking at Euro dollar. Euro didn't manage to break beyond the old trend line that was pushing up there yesterday, pushed back into that and rolled. It looks like it's got potential carry on pushing down towards its weekly pivot at the moment. It was almost like a double top yesterday, come just fractionally short. If it were to break the lows of last week there, well, it puts it back on course, back down towards the prior lows, maybe down towards the S1 there. Now, my thoughts with these markets is that they could end up just chopping along quite a bit. It has got a daily pivot untouched above, which well, if it bounces off its weekly pivot, S1 area, 200 moving average, which all face, well, the 200s facing southwards or downwards. If it bounces off those levels, well, daily pivot may be on, but at the moment it is certainly erring towards the bearish side of these. Okay, the pound yesterday sold off nicely to its weekly pivot. Actually went a bit beyond. Still in a stronger downtrend, and well, any retracements I think is a better opportunity to sell than perhaps even the euro. Although we're already down, it's broken through. It's consolidated overnight there and broken through, and well, pretty much looks like it's got further downside at this way, but I would need to sell into a retrace. So I'd be looking for a retrace to sell into for a continuation move there. Okay, carry on looking through these markets. Dollar yen's been pushing up. It's just so dollar strength right the way through. I was looking at this for a break of the monthly pivot there. It was sitting there on those lows there. I would still look to if it breaks that level to be on the sell side, but at the moment it's taking a bounce from where it is. Maybe that weekly pivot, even if it comes into that weekly pivot, it hasn't really, it's put probably a minor higher low coming through there, but in this sort of bigger picture it may just stall there, and I'd like to see if it does, and if there's an opportunity, may actually sell into that, and that would confirm, as I say, in the shorter time frames on the 60-minute, maybe a higher low, so it'd have to tread carefully. A safer point may be looking at the trend line that runs below this movement at the moment. So if it does that and then breaks the trend, it may be a safer point to be selling this. But at the moment, it looks like we've seen a bit of dollar strength coming through. Aussie dollar. Got up to its prior highs, failing at those prior highs at the moment. There's not quite a divergence up there yet because it hasn't quite got there, but they might just be putting a little bit, oh, I don't know, actually it's close, and probably not is the answer on that daily picture. 4 hourlies, it looks like it's breaking that trend that it sat in there all last week, and it has got the weekly pivot below. So if we did see it sort of breaking that 4 hourly 8 properly, maybe and through this daily pivot we could see a bit more of a correction, and the weekly pivot would be quite a good point. It is probably asking quite a lot of a market that's been going pretty flat for, yesterday was a classic example how flat it could go for long periods, and then pushing up. So just a bit wary on this, but if it sells over, breaks over, it's look at that strong 50 coming up behind, not being tested, that may just stall it anyway. So if it breaks that, then it would be more likely, it would be more likely to run down towards that weekly pivot. But at the moment, erring on the bullish side, and the 50, for those that want to be buying and going with the direction it currently sits in, may in fact be a half decent buy point. Canadian dollar, I really like the downside of this, but yesterday I had a little bullish army actually sitting in there and pushing back towards its weekly pivot. Now this is one that could probably hit the weekly pivot, get away with it and still sell off without putting a higher low in. Even I think on the shorter time frames I was looking last night, it could it's probably going to spoil it a bit now maybe and confirm higher lows. Yep, it's done that already. So, well, we'll see how it reacts here. But again, safety measures really. If it pushes up, catches a weekly pivot, or pushes through to 200, trend line across the lows there. If it starts breaking and breaks through that, then I'd be looking at the short side. So, very, very simple process. Looking at through those markets. News-wise today, we've got the pound, we've got the employment data coming through. Average earnings is obviously the key focus. I say obviously, but it is the key focus of the employment data, although some of the other numbers can create volatility. And then thereafter for the European data, really just German ZEW economic sentiment out at 10. It's quite negative last time, minus 22, so anything positive on that may just sort of change that. Sorry, minus 21 last time, expect to get worse to minus 22. We've got Carney speaking, Bank of England Carney speaking at 1 o'clock. Due to participating in a panel discussion. Okay, I don't think that would do too much on that basis. Got FOMC speaker though, Bowman speaking at in Atlanta, due to deliver opening remarks. Okay, no Q&A there, so again that might be not particularly great. But we do have the core retail sales and retail sales figures at 1:30, and we got Powell's Fed Chair Powell speaking later on. Again, it's one of those that's just a general meeting, so that may be not so key. I'm just looking through. The only one of the Fed speakers today is 8:30 p.m. Due to speak in a television appearance on CNBC. Audience questions expected, and that's the one maybe that could create more volatility out of those Fed speakers. Okay, that's it for me. I wish you a great day. I'll speak to you on tomorrow. Bye for now.